Hello, hello, hello. Here we are, episode 4, Close to Nowhere. Jordan, Jamie, my buddies, how are you going?
Very well,
All
thank
good.
you very much, Pete.
All good.
All good.
Very, very good. So what I thought we might do this week is maybe give everyone a bit of an idea of what we're going to talk about. As if we actually know what we're doing, but just in case. So I guess what we're going to cover today, I'd like to bring up the idea of what makes a song iconic. And I'd also like to discuss the idea of things that are cheesy, songs that are cheesy or music videos that are cheesy. What is acceptable cheese and what's not? I'd also like to see, I guess, the songs that we just fell in love with when we were younger and now we just despise as older gentlemen, and why. and I guess just approaching those sort of subjects to see if that rings true for anyone else out there in the ether. We'll see how we go with that, I guess.
All right, that sounds like a good plan to me, then, Mr. Renzullo.
Indeed.
Yes. Where should we start? Should we just dive right in, or
actually, let's do it. In fact, let's just go. Let's shake things up a bit and go straight to a song.
Okay, cool. Let's do that.
How tight's that?
Hey, by the way, kids, this is all completely planned. We're not doing this off the cuff.
No,
Totally. No. 3 weeks of rehearsals, actually. So there you go. Okay, so first up, we'll go through a track that I did. One of my first hip-hop tracks to venture into as far as a filmmaker goes. This is for an artist called Denots, and this is his song, Australia.
Australians, let us rejoice. Young and free, understand what the beauty be. This country is the land of opportunity. We are young and free. We are young and free. From the beaches down the coast to the deserts and the outback, appreciate it all. Yeah, we're blessed to live in our land. The east to the north and the west to the south. Man, where dreams have been born, never gonna doubt that. Standing here with me, from Adelaide to Sydney, Tassie up to Brizzy and back to Peace City, Melbourne, Darwin and Canberra too. Emus, koalas and kangaroos, the kookaburras mocking you from the trees. Looking at it, got the wombats and the wallabies, echidnas and crocodiles, the dingoes too. Fruit lizards and the crockers, I just list a few. All around the country, from state to state, that's what I'm talking about. We love this place, it's great. My heart's full of love to the traditional owners. The past is the past, now let's live in the moment. Australians, let us rejoice. We are young and free. We are young and free. Australians, let us rejoice. We are young and free. We are young and free. We are one, but we are many. From all the lands we come, and there's plenty. You gotta have the love for everyone standing up, you get me? Nationwide, and we under pressure. Australia's on fire, gotta come together. Stay united, man, there's nothing better. Till the day that we die, share the love forever. That's how we live and see. Everybody good, bruh. Don't forget the history, it's the present and the future. All around the land that is girt by sea. The deserts and the sand, red dirt and trees. Everybody stands for you and me. Come together, give your hand, it's the unity. Make amends to the traditional owners and pay respects to Aboriginal culture. Every day we're blessed, so let's live in the moment. Every day we're blessed, so let's live in the moment. Australians, let us rejoice. We are young and free. We are young and free. Australians, let us rejoice. We are young and free. We are young and free. We are young and free.
We are back. So that was Denots with his song Australia. So I guess one of the first subjects we should look at, I'm wondering if you guys have any opinions on what exactly is it? What are the criteria needed to make a song iconic? Is it the artist or is the song its own little thing?
Jamie,
Good
go.
question.
Go.
Oh, good. You were going to start with me, weren't you?
Yeah, because
I
I need to think up something that's a vaguely intelligent answer, and I apparently can't do that at the moment because my mind just
Wrong show for that.
So we're talking iconic songs versus iconic songs by iconic artists.
Yeah, I guess, what makes a song iconic? Because, I mean, there are one-hit wonder iconic songs, so I suppose in that regard, it's not really the artist that driving that, is it? But so what exactly is the formula to make it iconic across all lands and all decades?
Oh, do you know something? I mean, if I knew the answer, I'd be writing those songs. I'd be like, I don't know if Noddy Holder's ever made it over to.
I don't think so. Maybe he did.
No. That song, I know a little fact about that song. It earns him. I say I know a little fact about that song, and I'm trying to make up a figure that sounds plausible. I did know this fact, honestly. It's something like it earns him something like £400,000 every Christmas because it literally does get played all over the world. And even if they just use that "It's Christmas" bit, and it doesn't matter where it is, that's pretty much global now.
Right.
Because we have a friend of ours that is married to the lead singer of The Sweet these days, she. I was talking to him because he was asked to do Noddy Holder's band. What's it called? Why does my mind go blank every time I talk about this?
Noddy Holder's band.
Slade. Thank you. Slade.
Okay.
You just wanted me to start.
I was just gonna hold out just to see how long it took for the brain to react.
Yeah. So anyway, he was asked to do lead singer duties for Slade for a little while, and he said, "Well, why doesn't Noddy want to do it anymore?" He said, "Because he doesn't have to," and he said it kills his voice having to do all of that, it's Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
And if he can earn close to £500,000 every single year for doing absolutely nothing, he chooses to not do that. So, and I think that might be that's the goal of a lot of people that necessarily get into music, isn't it? Is to make an awful lot of money, but he can't do that anymore. So yeah, you've got to write iconic songs that touch people in lovely ways, and
it's weird. I mean, it's weird and strange, isn't it? How, I mean, sometimes something that could be. I've spent I spent a week looking at videos where people are replicating sounds using sort of 70s synthesizers, and you kind of forget that perhaps something that makes a song iconic is either the change in production, and we've talked about different production methods, but also about people just being creative with the sounds that they're making as well. Because I was thinking, I was listening to "Enjoy the Silence" by Depeche Mode this last week, and I don't think you could make that song any better. There are some songs where you listen to it, and when you're talking about an iconic song, you listen to it and you listen to the production of it, and you think there's no way they could better that. And something that actually I find quite painful is giving artists the opportunity to revisit their classic albums, to remix and master them, because I think that sometimes you can actually lose iconic elements of a song just by messing around with it. I mean, I remember a few years ago, in another capacity, sitting there having to interview my least favourite member of the Star Wars family, Anthony Daniels,
Right.
who played C-3PO. I fucking hate him. Sorry. I'm just going to put it out there. If there's anybody who likes Anthony Daniels,
Fair enough.
put your comments down below. But
won't be agreed
I remember,
with by Jamie, that is.
Yes, but I remember very much in that somebody asked a question relating to was it right for George Lucas to be able to revisit his works and with the special editions and everything like that, and he said, well, it's his sandpit, he can do what he likes. And I suspect that's what it is, but sometimes what makes something iconic is a moment, and you hear all of these stories of songs being literally written in an afternoon that then just became something. I mean, I don't know, you can't always get what you want by the Stones. I mean, you listen to that, and that is an afternoon recording, but that's
right,
iconic. I don't know. I'm gonna now. You've had an opportunity to drink some coffee and reconfigure your brain, Jordan.
He's gonna ask me
Maybe
something.
you can speak more articulately than
well,
me just moaning about Anthony Daniels.
Here's the thing. I've been sitting here when you said about going back and re-recording albums. I was thinking ELO did that. Now, who is the person who is Mr. ELO? And you know what? I can see the guy's face, but I can't think of his name. Why does this always happen? Literally, my mind has gone blank. ELO's Mr. What's his name? Jamie, don't leave me hanging out here. Pete?
No, I don't. I can't help you with this one today.
Sure.
Oh, do you know what? I'm going to have to Google it. So sorry. ELO. This is so stupid. Lead singer. Jeff Lynne. Oh, for God's sake. Yeah, what? I'm literally sitting there just going, beard, silly hair, stupid tinted glasses. Jeff. Can't think of his name. Anyway, yes, so Jeff Lynne. He spent, and there's a documentary about this, he spent a long time going back over all of the ELO back catalogue, or at least a great part of it, going back and re-recording all of the things that he didn't like about the original recordings. And like Jamie said, and I think we said this about quantized drum beats last time, didn't we? If you go back and you take out all of the bits that you as the creator perceive as bad, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually bad on the ears of the listener, because when I think you listen to a record and you attach memories and sentimentality to it, then it kind of becomes part of that era that when you remembered that whole time, really, doesn't it? So it's a tough one, because I think there's some things that, if it was a track that was only half finished and then you went back and then you put it you put other production elements into it and you made it something better, that's one thing. But I think if it's just going back and going, oh well, we could do that better now. I honestly don't think the benefit of hindsight is a good thing in that respect. And there's another story that there was a US artist, and I think I've got a feeling it was Carl Perkins. They came over in the late 60s. And the pickup band that they used when he came over here to the UK, they were learning all of his tracks off the original Sun recordings, which is what they had access to. Obviously, there was no such thing as looking it all up on YouTube and finding a million different versions and all the notation, that sort of stuff. So they were literally learning off the track. And they were rehearsing one day for this run of gigs that he was doing, and they played the song as they understood it. And about halfway through, he stopped them and he just went, "What did you do that for?" And they went, "What did we do what for?" He said, "You played a mistake." And they went, "No, that's in the recording." So they got the record out, and lo and behold, there was the mistake. And he was like, "You learnt the mistake."
That's hilarious.
And they were like, "Well, yeah, because that's what it was. This is what this song. We love this song. This is what it means to us, including that. We didn't realise it was a mistake, And
that's
he was
great.
like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I think trying to do that whole thing where you're trying to make a sort of perfect. It doesn't happen. It's not something that can be designed. It's something it's got to kind of happen by accident, and I think that probably leads into a million tales about one-hit wonders. Then, doesn't it? Why is a one-hit wonder a one-hit wonder?
Yeah. Like, I mean, case in point, Agadoo. So
yes,
of course, a legendary song, of course.
yeah. But do you know, I was thinking more sort of bands like the New Radicals and You Only Get What You Give. I mean, they name another New Radicals track.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
you can't. But I mean, and actually, that's an interesting one himself, because he intended that to be a one-hit wonder, because he didn't do anything like that. Correct me if I'm wrong with that, but I've got
no,
a feeling
he was a musician and writer by trade, wasn't he? Because he ended up then writing a lot for a variety of. I mean, I know Ronan Keating was somebody that he wrote a lot for as well. But you're right;
Gotcha.
It was almost just right. Okay, I'm going to write a song, and it's going to be a huge hit, and then I'm going to go and crack on and do that. I mean, it's funny, you're talking about iconic things. I'm just thinking about artists as one-hit wonders, but songs that are absolutely perfect and you wouldn't want to change and are iconic. I mean, McCalmont and Butler. I mean,
yeah.
there was that one song, And that was enough, wasn't it, really? I think there are quite a lot of artists like that who've just got that one moment of magic. They come out, they write something, and what do you think, Pete? You've posed the question.
I guess for me, I mean, it sort of relates to last week's episode, the fact that music is no longer necessarily a physical medium by necessity. It doesn't need to exist on a physical medium. I just wonder if that's why more people are messing around and remastering and re-editing their songs. You wouldn't see that from like a sculptor or an artist or a novelist that would change their book or change their artwork, because it's such a physical thing showing what they're doing. But
do you know what?
I wonder.
That is such a good point there, Pete. I mean, just imagine if somebody went back to, say, a Turner. God, this is sounding pretentious now, isn't it? They went back to a Turner painting, and they thought, well, you know, we're going to get rid of all of that stuff, and we're going to
change the color. Or
we're going to brighten it up. We're going to change the color palette, and it would just ruin what it was originally, then, wouldn't it?
But it's not considered that with music, is it?
No, not at all. But I suppose, you know, you can go round a million and one times doing as many versions of things that, but you know, like I said, the song doesn't necessarily. It's not just the song that's a song in a vacuum. It sort of captures the moments of a time. Going back to, you know, and Enjoy the Silence, like you said. I mean, that is, you know, you play that song and immediately go, when was that recorded? 80s.
Yeah.
No question
Totally,
about that.
totally. Yeah, you're right. And people take their these songs very personal, because there'll be a moment in their life that was a pivotal moment in their life, and that song happens to be a reason contributing towards that pivotalness. You know what I mean? So I guess it's hard. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a question that I've got no real answer to. I'm just really curious about not necessarily the formula to make an iconic song, just why certain songs become iconic and some don't. Yeah.
And I think it is such, you know, we can come back to this. It's such a personal thing. I mean, it's, you know, there's a overall iconic song of the one that always gets trotted out on you know, the things where they're doing, oh, this is going to be the 80s, and they trot out Don't You Want Me Baby. I think that's probably the most.
Yeah.
You know, oh, it's going to be the 80s. There we are, waitress in a cocktail bar, Till I Met You.
Absolutely.
Hey, we managed to sort of avoid the 90s of this discussion for the most part, haven't we? We've done that.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm wearing a bandana though. I'm wearing a bandana. Do you know, that's one thing I'm actually enjoying about in the UK at the moment, is that we have to now wear face coverings.
Yeah.
When we enter any shops, it's all a bit mad and mental, the whole Rona thing. But one thing I like about it is, I remember when I was 13, 14, I used to always wear bandanas, and at school I'd wear them up like this, and I'd get told off by my teacher. And you know something now? This is the law now. Yeah. This is the law. It's great, isn't it? It's fantastic. Every cloud.
You know, actually, just on that point, I had to go into a shop yesterday, so I got this black one. I've always sort of been cultivating, like, you know, F off eyes, because you know, so there's some places you just don't want to be. I come from Swansea. Sometimes you've got to just cultivate F off eyes. It's just is, because otherwise you get hassled. So anyway, whatever. Swansea's a lovely place, lovely beaches, also some dodgy parts. Anyway, so I've got this black mask now, which basically makes me look like I'm about to rob the joint, like I'm going to walk in there and so. But anyway, be that as it may, I'm in the chip shop last night. And they got a little sign on the door saying, please wear a mask. If you can't wear a mask, then don't worry, we can sell you one for 50p. All right, fair enough. They're trying to, you know, if Mohammed won't go to the mountain go to Mohammed. Mm-hmm. And you're standing in there, and there's 3 people in there, one of whom's me, all wearing masks. And then somebody comes in and does this. They've got a cardigan.
Right.
Pull it across their mouth. Oh. Okay, yeah. They give their order. And the minute they've given their order, they just put it off their mouth and just stand there.
Oh, brilliant!
And it's like, what planet are you on? Right? You know, if you don't want to wear a mask, just don't wear one, and suffer the consequences. I don't care. Do what you want. You know, it's fine. But seriously, how? And so I told this story to Lauren when I got home, and she's like, "Yeah, it's really easy to highlight the thick people in the world now." I was like, "Yeah, it is, isn't it?" Yeah, they literally do have a marker that's on their.
I like the fact how quickly it's become normalised that everybody sort of looks like bit parts in Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean?
Yes,
that's the way I see it. Or they look like Shredder from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Exactly right. Yeah, totally.
Sorry, I should have waited until you
Yeah,
finished your coffee.
I've got to remember that if you're going to say something like that, mustn't spit coffee all over the keyboard. So
should we have another song? Should we have another?
Yeah,
song?
why not? Yeah. So this next one here is my attempt at just getting this really sort of over the top, cheesy, funky feel. And this song here is called "Funky Disco Party" by Dr. Cousin Friends.
Good time. Gonna have a good time at the funky disco party.
Welcome to these funky times. We're grooving to the disco rhymes. Time to move and shake your ass. Come and join our funky class. Lose yourself and just let go. Freak your body, let it flow. Hear the rhythm, feel the vibe. You know you just can't hide. Feel the music deep inside your soul. Smiling faces come to funky fire zone. Gonna have a good time and some dancing at the funky disco party. Gonna have a good time and some dancing at the funky disco party. Listen up, we're getting down. Time to go to funky town. Get yourself to turbocharge. Strut your stuff and give it large. Come with us and join the beat. Listen to your dancing feet. Float along the disco cloud. Join the fun and shout out loud. Feel the music deep inside your soul. Smiling faces, time to funky fire zone. Gonna have a good time and some dancing at the funky disco party. Gonna have a good time and some dancing at the funky disco party. Take me to funky town. Gonna have a good time and some dancing at the funky disco party. Gonna have a good time and some dancing at the funky disco party. Funky disco party. Have a good time and some dancing at the funky disco party. Gonna have a good time and some dancing at the funky disco party. Funky disco party. Funky disco party. We are funky as fuck. 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 Gonna have a good time and some dancing at the funky disco party. Funky disco
So that was Dr. Cousin Friends with their song Funky Disco Party. So on the subject of cheese, do you think it helps the, I suppose, the status of a song if the artist is in on the cheese, if they've made it intentionally cheesy, or can you just not avoid it as far as the song being perceived as cheesy in a bad way?
Oh, I don't know. I think people probably intend not to do that generally, don't they? Unless, I don't know.
Well, I guess if it's overt, if it seems obvious, like the previous clip was obviously we're going to take the piss here and make it as cheesy as possible.
Yeah.
Is that acceptable, or is that like, well, unless you know that story, you're going to think this is just complete cheese in a bad way?
I don't know. Just going back to the whole, what we said about Noddy Holder and it's Christmas and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's generally how Christmas records go these days, isn't it?
Right.
I always feel sorry for anybody, by the way, that's where their record company goes, you know what? I think we should. What we should do is we'll make the Christmas song, because they're just, they're just. I mean, there's one by Ellie Goulding, I think it was, and it is. Oh my God! It's just, it's sort of beyond the pale of what could possibly be enjoyed by anybody. I don't think, unless you're
Did it
stone
feel
deaf.
intentional, or was it like they were trying to make a good song here, an emotive song?
Don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Oh, no.
I think there's.
Go on,
Do you know
Dave.
something? I was going to say. I think there's two different schools here, aren't there? There are the people who are intentionally writing something cheesy that is going to be remembered, or people reworking songs. Like I'm thinking of like Mike Flowers Pops, like when he was redoing like
when he did
Oasis in the
Wonderwall,
style
didn't
of
he?
like,
Yeah, right.
sort of 60s. But then you also have the people who unintentionally write something that they don't realise is cheesy. And
that's exactly right.
There's a couple of people that come to mind who actually, for whatever reason, I just find wonderfully entertaining. There's a guy in London called Jimothy who writes these songs about like his hard life, where he's clearly quite middle class, and they are really, really cheesy. And he spent quite a lot of time in his original videos, because he produces his own videos as well, getting banned by Transport for London by riding on the back of tubes and buses, which I thought was amazing. In fact, another one, and there's a video which we will link below, because I've sent you the clip. This
Yes,
week,
I saw that actually. Yeah.
I'm completely obsessed by this Vietnamese guy who might be 22 or 32 who just sings numbers. So he'll sing to 50,
it's so cool.
or he'll sing in his 50s, he'll sing like the 50s, or sometimes, if you really get into it, you get deep down in his Instagram, he'll actually count to 100, you know. But
Sing to 100.
but something like that, sometimes I think a moment which is quite genuinely, you will not be able to count to 15 the same way ever again after you've watched the video. But I think sometimes something in a really well-mannered way, where somebody perhaps doesn't, sort of does it and doesn't necessarily intend to make it cheesy, but then it is, but can become something really sort of sweet in itself. The other side of it, where people are intentionally writing, as you're saying, like Agadoo, they're writing those songs that they know, or the Macarena, or, those sort of things. I think, I don't know, it's a little bit like, when in big workplaces, when they try and do fun at work, and they put a poster in Comic Sans with lots of exclamation marks. That is where that element of cheese, I think, sits. It's the one where you sort of go, do you know what? You're trying too hard at trying to
that's the fear there,
parody something. You know what I mean?
Yep. Totally.
I think that there's been a couple of songs released reasonably recently, like within the last few years, I think, that have definitely descended into unintentional cheesyisms, aren't they? There is that one. What's it called? 1999 or something. Which I don't know if this is just speaking as somebody that was 15 in 1999, but then you listen to it and you just think this song is instantly, no pun intended, dated, but then it's just like, well, where does this kind of sit? This is not like a record that is of this particular moment in time. It's just an awful record that was put out.
Gotcha.
And,
Yeah.
You know, it's just there's they thought too hard about it, you know. And it's like,
Yep.
like what Jamie said. They try too hard, and they went, right, okay, I know what will resonate. This, and they put it out,
Yeah.
and it's like so on the nose. You can listen to it and just go, yeah, no,
Yeah.
you're going to be talking about this on the top 10 worst records
Yeah.
of 2000 and whatever in 10 years' time.
Then it becomes cringy, not cheesy.
Yeah. And but there was that fine line, isn't it, between cringe and cheese.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's one record I've started to love to hate recently is "Play That Funky Music" by Black Cherry, which
Of course.
yeah,
We play in my funk band. It's awesome to play.
Pete, you and I are no longer friends.
Good.
Yeah, but I think that's kind of the test, isn't it? It's like if you can safely play it at a wedding party,
Oh yeah.
then that's probably in with songs that possibly might be cheesy, and that is one of those songs. I don't know if when they wrote it they did it as a serious thing or if it's not.
I know,
but,
it's hard. I don't know.
yeah.
It feels like they didn't, but then again,
Yeah.
it might be era specific. And I suppose on that note, is there a certain era that's most guilty of just creating cheese?
Yeah, the 70s.
more than others. 70s, I'd say. See, I'd go 80s, but
Really?
purely from the musical
Okay.
side of things, not the vocals.
No, I'd go with the 70s. I mean, God, Brotherhood of Man. Yeah, no.
It's
Yeah.
funny.
Jamie-
But yeah, it's just one of those things. I don't know if there's a certain again. Is there a formula for cheese, a successful cheese? And I don't think there is. Well, for example, Ween with "Push Little Daisies." Now that felt like a pretty, it's a stupidly high voice. It's a pretty crazy, quirky video clip. Is that more quirk than cheese? Do you think, or is it actually sort of in the same realm of successful cheese?
Jamie, I'm going to let you take that one.
I think so. Quirk as opposed to cheese.
I guess, I don't know, like "Push Little Daisies" specifically. That sort of song. It's obviously a piss take of something, but is it
Yeah.
working? Yeah.
I mean, I guess so. I mean, if you think about, I'm just trying to think through. Now you talk about the 70s and 80s. I'm thinking about all those elements of songs that were sort of cheesy, and as to whether there was a quirk to some of them. And I think some of them were, like "Gordon is a moron," and you just sort of thinking of I'm just thinking, it's. I don't know, because it depends as to maybe the difference between a quirk and cheese is as to whether it's trying to aspire to sell a shitload of units.
Yes. Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Because I mean, if it's something that's intentionally been, I mean, oh, God's sake,
A marketing tool. Yeah. I know what you-
Yeah,
Like
I mean-
Macarena. Like Macarena.
did the Wombles of Wimbledon Common ever make it to?
Yeah. Well,
to
I mean,
Australia?
everyone knows of it. It wasn't on regular syndication, but everyone knows what it is for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was very much written with the idea of selling a lot of records. In fact,
Right.
Simon Cowell, he was responsible for making a ridiculous amount of very, very cheesy but very.
I have one in
Yeah.
my overextended record collection, which I acquired by accident. Just want to say that I didn't buy this.
Oh yeah, that
right.
chestnut. Go on.
Yeah, I can't remember who the artist is, but it's bright yellow, and you listen to it and you go, "Oh God, this is just." And he'd actually gone back to coming on to Simon Cowell. Hey, a music podcast bashing Simon Cowell. It's kind of had to be done at some point. But he was responsible for this awful Spice Girls ripoff from about 2000 called "Girl Thing." And
Okay.
honestly, if you want a cheesy song, you just need to go on. Oh, what was it called? Last One Standing.
Okay.
Again, link in the description below. Just go
Yep.
and watch that. You need to watch about the first 30 seconds, and you'll get exactly what
Get the
they were
idea.
trying to do, what they were trying to rip off, and what they were trying to make a quick buck on.
Do you know, on the subject of cheese, and to end this bit, and I'm not going to go through and explain it all, but at one point I did audition for a boy band back in the 90s, but that will be an episode in itself.
Oh, you can't leave it there. Are you
No,
serious?
we won't discuss that
God, I'm
today.
going to have to defend
But
you
just
as
have it
well,
in
aren't I,
mind.
Jamie? I mean, God, Pete, he likes play that funky music. You've auditioned for boy.
Yeah, I will tell you the tale at some point when we do record this, and I've had a couple of drinks in me. I will
Right.
tell
Next
you the
episode,
tale.
I've got to hear this. Oh,
I
wow.
will tell you the tale of when I auditioned for a boy band via the pages of the stage back
right.
in the 90s. Yeah.
We shall endeavour to get that covered for sure. That's an episode in itself, I think, surely.
The confessional.
All right, well, let's go to the next song then, shall we? This one here is actually my first ever attempt at animation, and to the perceptive viewers,
I just want to say something. I remember this. So when you sent it around for recharged stuff, and I love this animation. This is great.
Oh, good. And you might see
the
where
story
Dee
in
was
it-
inspired.
Yeah, I mean the story in it does drag you in. It really
Good.
does.
Oh,
It's
that's good.
great.
I'm
It's a
glad.
great video. It really is.
So so this is basically a song called "Damn Shame" by the Scuttlebugs.
Run for sneaking out the back door, taking all my change. How strange, can't you see I'm on the damn floor? One fall, thinking you can ride me all around the town. My crown seems to tumble off the bed sheets. Well, tell me you don't really want me, so I go away, can't stay, but you never fall behind me. Tell me that I'm not a real man, tell me all the time, so I'm taking matters in my own hands. Hope you know I'm doing this for you. Don't try to run, baby, it'll all be over soon. No one heard the shots over the tune, yeah, pumping through my speakers, baby, can't you hear them too? Woo-hoo! Oh! Yeah, I see you playing with your long hair. See you in my dreams. I scream 'cause you turn into a nightmare. Stand back, let the lady walk through. I'll be over there, no there. Make sure everybody sees you. With something that you need to tell me. I don't wanna know. I know that you saw it on the TV. I just don't believe your story. Why'd you have to cry? Don't cry. Why'd you have to tell a story? Hope you know I'm doing this for you. Don't try to run, baby. It'll all be over soon. Come on. And again. Well, no more sneaking out my back door, taking all my change. How strange as I drag you off the damn floor. Told me that I'm not a real man, told me all the time. That's fine, guess I'll meet you in the next land. Hope you know I'm doing this for you. Don't try to run, baby, it'll all be over soon. No one heard the shots over the tune. Yeah, pumping through my speakers, baby, can't you hear them too? Can you hear them too? Can you hear them too? Get 'em out of my, can you hear them too? Go, baby, go on. Hope you know I did it all for you. You tried to run, baby, what was I supposed to do? But no one heard the shots over the tubes. They were bumping through my speakers, baby, bumping for you. Come on, baby. Woo!
So that was "Damn Shame" by the Scuttlebugs. Now, next point I want to raise is those songs we fell in love with as kids, probably more specifically as teenagers, I guess, when it was really when a song meant the world to you, and then they turned into this thing that you just couldn't stand listening to it again. For me, it was "Enter Sandman," and I'm sure for others it probably is as well. But they've got their own examples. Why does that happen? Is it an age thing? Or is it
I
something
wonder
else going on?
what made you start hating Enter Sandman?
I think because I learnt it on guitar, and that's what drew me to it in the first place.
Yeah.
And then I got asked to play it by friends every time. And by the time I was in my 20s, it was like, oh my God. So maybe that's why. Maybe because it was to nauseam. I heard this song and I was requested it. It's like someone getting asked for.
You know, as you're saying about, I think there is something to be said about it being an element or a moment in time. I have very much the same thing with 14 Years by Guns N' Roses.
Oh,
but that,
okay.
again, was just because I remember when we were 14-year-olds and we were in a band called Beginners First, shittest band name ever. And we would sing 14 Years because we were 14 years old. And there was me trying to do a bad Axl Rose singing that, and that song's been ruined. I mean, it's funny you say about Enter Sandman. My memories of the Black Album was sitting down actually at the local pond to go fishing, and I took a ghetto blaster and we played Metallica's Black Album and fucked off all the anglers. So I actually have fond memories of Enter Sandman. Yeah, that was a good day.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I think you're right. Do you know something? I think sometimes it's to do with it being so much of the time music is hooked to a memory, isn't it? So it might not necessarily actually be the case that. I remember there was, God, this is terrible. Do you know something? I really shouldn't be allowed to talk about these things. I really shouldn't. But I remember meeting a girl from Ipswich called Helen. And in fact, there's a side note to this. My mum, many years later, went, oh, she found some old photographs. And she goes, who's that? And I went, oh, it's Helen. I dated her one summer. And she goes, oh, maybe you could find her on Facebook. And I'm like, Mum, her name was Helen and she was from Ipswich and that's all I know about her. She goes, I'm sure you can find her.
Helen from Ipswich.
So. Yeah, but I remember us snogging under the table whilst listening to TMNT Power, which was the like a really shit rap from the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
I remember it.
film.
Wasn't MC Hammer doing the vocals on that?
It was very. I don't think it was, but it was very much.
I know the song though, the TMNT Power.
Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about. And we'd snogged under a pool table. You know, all of my first sort of sexual experiences were under tables, and I remember that song was like, I'd listened to it like at the end of the summer, like, I love that song. It's shit. It is fucking shit. It really is. It's the same with More Than Words by Extreme. Again, another girl, another under the table experience.
Yes.
And listening to that, and like at the end when the relationship broke up after 2 weeks, and me crying, listening to it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a bag of shit. Don't get me wrong. Nunu Betancourt. He's a fucking amazing guitarist, superb guitarist. He's probably got one of the, and I've played the solo to Jordan before, but there's one particular solo in Get the Funk Out, which is
I know it,
phenomenal.
Oh yeah,
it's absolutely
amazing. For a little man, he's a beast.
But that song is shit. I hate it. And do you know something? I remember there was a friend of mine, very similar to your situation of learning Enter Sandman, who he learnt to play the guitar so he could play More Than Words, and then he was like, "Oh, come and sing it." And I tried. I think I sang it once, and then it was like I bathed in bleach afterwards, and I'm like, "I'm never doing that again. I'm never doing that again." Oh God, no! Yeah. There's loads. Do you know something? There's too many songs like that. Go on, George. I'm sure you've got some.
Do you know what? I haven't got all that many because I was thinking, maybe it's an Oasis track, but I think a lot of them kind of got ruined in on the way through anyway. So and now it's cool by 40-something-year-old men to like Oasis. And, I don't know, the whole Oasis thing, I think it's been much. But the only example that I can really think of for songs that I used to like and then got utterly ruined rather than kind of got ruined and chipped away at and then became like just a pile of rubble, just sort of brushed into the corner, only to be got out at birthdays and special occasions, was anything from Pet Sounds and the Beach Boys. Because there's quite a, I suppose, quite a sweet tale with this, but because when I used to get picked up by my dad at school, he didn't have a radio or anything, and they had this really old, ancient Bedford van. Round your way, Pete, it would have been called Holden. And yeah, I mean, this thing was designed in about 1959.
Okay.
And it's, weirdly, I saw one the other day, and so I had to sit in it, and I was just like, oh, God, this is, like, archaic. But, yeah, so he didn't have a radio or anything like that, so he used to sing songs that he knew to entertain us both. And he used to sing a lot of the Beach Boys songs, because that's what he used, because he's been an old surfer, and, he used to know all the lyrics to them and all that. So that was really nice. Right up until reasonably recently, within the last 10 years, and I think this is possibly something to do with the rights issues, and then suddenly being able to use Beach Boys songs for advertising. And there was one particular advertising campaign for VW. They wanted to sell their vans, and they picked God Only Knows. And basically, they got a whole bunch of sort of southern white male types going, God only knows what I'd be without you. And then that sort of then morphed then into a whole bunch of white southern middle class types singing it at concerts going, God only knows what I'd be with. And it's just like, what have you done? You've just turned this thing into just a whole pile of, you've taken this wonderfully beautifully crafted album, which you read all the history into it, and it's all out there. You work out exactly what was going on in the band politics and blah blah blah. And they made a whole film about it, which I watched twice on the way to honeymoon, on the way back from honeymoon. It was it's all really really fascinating from a musical point of view, and it was didn't sell all that well at the time, and then it became critically acclaimed afterwards. And you kind of want to put these things up there, just like, don't fuck with this. Just leave it. Just leave it alone. Don't sell it to people that are just don't leave it alone. Just put it over there, and that's fine. Do something else. But then they took it and they just went, advertising music that we're just going to sell to demographics, and we're going to include them, and then that's what it becomes. And so now, of course, you type things like that on the internet, and suddenly all this other bullshit pops up. So cheers, advertising agencies, for ruining my childhood memories. Well done. Right.
In fact, that's a good point. Is when it becomes used for marketing or for advertising or for especially friggin' bank ads, when they start using really well-known songs, it does ruin the song, because then you just see that bank logo, or you just see that that product. You're so true, so true.
Yeah, and I've got. By the way, I just want to point out, I've no problem with any up-and-coming bands or whatever making a buck out of the advertisers, because if they got the money and they're going to pay you to go and do something for that, and that can promote your single and whatever, hey, take the money. You're not going to make any other money out of the whole damn business anyway, and they got the money. You take the money and go and have fun with it. Do whatever, but kind of just leave the other things just over there.
Yep.
Just don't touch them.
That could be the kiss of death, though, can't it? Can't you remember Reef and Sony, when Reef did a song for a Sony advert, and that was before they'd been signed, but they hadn't actually released. I think was it Glow, their first album? That was used, and it was almost like as a product of that, they were kind of like that. They were kind of they took steps back, didn't they? Yeah. Having to be known in the first instance as being, but
then
Jesus,
again, it can
make the money any way you've got to. You know what I mean?
But in contrapoint to that, not that I ever want to say that Coldplay are a paragon of virtue when it comes down to this kind of thing, and I think the inevitable attempt to cash in is pretty much Coldplay's entire career, actually. But there we go. But they started off with a jingle for a mobile phone company called The Link, which I remember hearing on Virgin in like 1998. And it was Chris Martin going, "It's easy with The Link, it's easy," and it was just like, oh yeah, there's some money now. You can go off and go and make a proper album, and therefore started their career.
Early on, okay.
Yeah. This was like I think this is pretty much pretty specific to the UK and England and Wales only. I think I don't think it went anywhere else.
No, it doesn't ring a bell at all. Wow, that's interesting. Okay,
but and then they took the money and disappeared off to the middle classes for them to chant their lyrics back to them at overpriced concerts the world over. So why do these things always end up with white middle class people ruining things? Seriously, why? Why is that? Hey, by the way, we're not a woke SJW sort of podcast here, but white middle class people ruin the world. They really, really do. It's a kiss of death to anything, really, isn't it? White middle class people. Now, unfortunately, us three people, we're all white middle class people, so maybe we should shut up. Hey.
Oh, good. Well, and on
Never
that
mind.
note, I suppose.
Never mind.
Shall we wrap it up?
Yes.
All right. So, a bit of a treat for some viewers today. It's not actually a music clip to end this show. In fact, the three of us, are involved in this next clip. I've recently produced a short film. It's like 6 minutes long. But I've used our banter from one of our earlier episodes as the background banter in the show that's coming through like a TV, unseen TV. This is a little film I created, and it's featuring myself, Jordan, and Jamie as cameo voices, I suppose. See if you enjoy this. Not for children, so don't show them this. But I'm sure the whole show you gathered that's not a child show, so you're probably fine.
No, this isn't not safe for work or children.
Not safe for work. That's right, exactly it. So Jordan, Jamie, thank you as usual for making this happen. This is awesome fun, and I'm loving it. And for everyone else, of course, check out the links below, everything we've talked about. And then next week we shall do it again. So until then.
Well, that was fun. Don't you think?
Who gave you the order?
Is it loaded?
Who?
So same as always? First one to the gun?
Tell me.
I suppose Dave has set this up so we can settle it amongst ourselves.
Who gave you the order?
This is torture for you, isn't it? Look, I didn't know it was your sister.
Yes, you did.
How?
You met her last year.
I'm bad with faces. You know that.
Tell me. I don't like the habit of repeating myself.
Oh, really? Tell me, Eileen. What would you do to me?
I don't think you want to know.
Oh, but I do. See, you're known as the most ruthless among us. And I've heard stories of what you can do.
Don't like that, Eloise.
It's just cancer, Eileen.
Put it away and I'll tell you.
Tell me.
What I'd do to you if you don't tell me who gave you the order.
Okay. Do I need to get popcorn
I'll
or something?
start with your eyes.
Oh, I love that. So what would you use? A knife? A drill?
No. I'd use my thumbs. I'd push them all the way in until the back of the sockets. Then I'd scrape my nails until the optic nerves snap.
See, now that is beautiful. No tools, no tricks, just the raw force of your bare hands. I love it.
No. You wouldn't.
So, what's next? My ears?
No. You keep your ears. And your tongue.
Toes, fingers?
No. That's all. Just your eyes.
You've lost your mojo, girl. I mean, Jesus. Just a piece of friendly advice, but that ain't torture. It's brutal, yeah, but it ain't torture. That should just be the entree.
It is.
What?
After I've ripped your eyes from their sockets, I'll get to work on Millie.
Wait, what are you...
I'll bring her into the room so she can stare at her eyeless, screaming mother tied to a chair.
Ugh, just what, I don't know.
As she stands there, crippled with fear at the sight of the freakish nightmare that once was her mother, I'll pick her up. Then I'll strap her to a chair.
Eileen, don't bring my
Once
daughter.
she's secured and facing you, I'll start. You want to know real torture? I'll show you. You'll beg me to kill her, but I won't. That will be your torture.
You'd have to find her first. How?
I gave you the order! Thank you for telling me.